This is the Lockpicker 1969, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to the next episode of Interview with a Lockpicker. Today's guest, back after a year since his first interview, is Chris Capune. Say hi, Chris.
Hi there, Chris here.
So, I wanted to do this second part, or this, I guess you can call it a continuation or extension from the original interview, because I wanted to capture some of the things that I have been asking in interviews more recently that we didn't necessarily capture the first time we did an interview. So, where are you from?
Oh, I'm from Pasadena, California,
Okay.
and which is, I don't know, 20 minutes to the northeast of Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles.
Okay. So, for the people who did not listen to the first interview, I just wanted to ask one quick question. We don't need to dive into the history. They can go back and listen to the first interview. When did you first start in lockpicking? How far back does that go?
That goes back about 6.5 years.
Okay. All right. So we talked a little bit in the pre interview for this interview about your thoughts on the belt system. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh yeah. Um, I let's see. If I were participating in the belt system, I would probably be maybe a couple above blue. Um, but I don't it hasn't really sparked me to follow it that closely. Um, but I do want to say I have great respect for all of the people who have achieved belts and all of the hard work they've done um, to get those belts.
Mm-hmm.
And I myself just haven't done, I haven't done jump through the different hoops. Well, I have. I just haven't got it collected all that information to get it to um, the people who check that out.
Mm-hmm.
And but I do love the LPU. I go to the LPU all the time and look at their different lock rated belts and what they're rated, and uh, I keep up on that. I really enjoy that, just for my own enjoyment.
Well,
So
you've picked some difficult disc detainer locks lately from what I've been keeping up with. So that's
yeah,
impressive. That's impressive in and of itself, considering how
I
many of us are struggling with disc detainers right now.
well, I really enjoy them. I mean, I really got hooked. I got hooked on the disc detainers quite some time ago, like about 2.5 years ago. But it took me like, and I'm slow, it took me about a year before I could really say, okay, I'm on a disc and it's turning, literally.
Yeah.
And I just kept circling back and watching all the good disc detainer pickers because I really wanted to get it. And then once I got a few, I really wanted to help others um, get theirs because I think they're very very fun.
Well, if you took that year to figure it out, I would like to
I
think you've learned a ton of lessons along the way that are probably very helpful to other pickers trying to learn it too. So definitely
yeah,
appreciate what you're doing.
yeah. I mean, the first thing I needed to learn was where's the damn disc, and
Yeah.
I mean literally because I really didn't know if I was on a disc and is that spinning or is that tension or is any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And the second thing I needed to, well, the first thing I needed to learn actually was how to just pick up the the first disc and the spinner and the first disc, but then how to feel a disc, and then also disc detainer picking. There's a lot of slipping off,
Yes.
and it took me forever not to involuntarily blink and lose my place, on the little lines. I mean, that was a huge thing.
Yeah.
And I don't want to discourage people because I was abnormally slow at all this. So it didn't
Well,
take
I
a
don't
year.
I don't consider that a bad thing, because if you went slow at it, you still developed what I feel is a deeper knowledge of it, and perhaps can appreciate the patience it's going to take to teach people like myself how to do it. So, and I definitely appreciate patience. So, um,
Well, yes, and it is coming from where I'm coming from. Yeah, I really had to learn it well so I could teach it well.
all right. Well, I know we're going to do a session after this interview, so I'm looking forward to that. But I wanted to
Pre-book.
say that I'm glad that disc-detainers have grabbed your passion and your interest, because I know you were throwing around and toying with that dreaded R word.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, and I think I speak for a lot of people in the community, you are a cherished member of the community. So I warned you before the interview that I was going to embarrass you a couple times, but there's one of them.
Well, thank you very much. I I really enjoy being part of this community.
You are a big part of it. So, speaking of being a part, so can you talk a little bit about what you're doing and trying to do with your channel and your videos? Because lately you've been sharing a lot of informative stuff about disc detainers, and um, can you?
Yeah, I've been. I got to a point where I was kind of like, well, I've sort of done it all for me anyway.
How many videos
And
are you up to now?
God, I think it's 2,640 something.
Wow. Okay.
It. Two of the things I'll just state, and I'm not trying to, blow my own horn or whatever, but people have no conception on what is in 2,600 and some odd, 40 odd videos.
Yep.
How many different locks, how many different guts, how many different, I mean, just about every type of lock you can think of, I've done. And the other thing is my lock collection is probably beyond extensive. So
It's
there's rarely a lock that
ginormous
someone,
comes to mind.
it is ginormous. It daunts me. So when someone picks a lock, I either have that model, a couple of those models, or one very similar across the boards.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of that, and I've poked into most all of them, so I just have sort of a lot of knowledge
Mm-hmm.
on all that stuff.
Definitely. I mean,
Not as good as some of the elite pickers, but and boy, do I respect them because I poked into some of those locks and I've held them and I've firsthand, and I'm amazed at
yeah,
the talent in this community.
definitely. You know, I'm approaching only what 350 videos, and I was just the other day looking back at some of the really old ones, to share as references for some newer pickers that have been asking for help on a couple of the different forums, and really was like, wow, I've really changed some things quite a bit since then. So I would imagine that after over 2,600 videos, if you look back at some of your earliest ones, I would imagine that was like, okay, I've come a long
Well,
way.
I have come a long way. The first one, first posting on YouTube is 6 years ago, coming up on the 26th of this month. And I've looked back at that video, and there's nothing on my desk. And, there's literally nothing. And also, I can remember, I do have a few photographs from that period. Hopefully, I haven't deleted them, but where my lock collection would fit in um, a little plastic dish that like lean cuisine would come in or something. I mean, they were like 7 locks or something.
I know you're saying that, but no one's going to believe it. So,
Well, hopefully I can go back and find some of those because they are they blow my mind. They yeah, I
okay.
can remember I could carry them around in that little little plastic thing.
Yeah.
So
So
uh,
I wanted to say, out of all your videos, the ones that I look forward to seeing every week are the Saturday morning rambles. I I enjoy those.
thank you. That's very interesting because I I did an early one which was like last Wednesday.
Yeah.
And just because I don't know, I get an idea and I'm shooting a video before I can even think about it. And then I thought, well, I won't do one this Saturday. And then I thought, well, I should look at and see what kind of views I'm getting on those, if people are liking them or what.
Yep.
And damn, they get a lot of views.
Yep.
So people are enjoying it. I'm going to do that, and I enjoy it, and I like touching upon what's going on around the community, and
Yep.
I'm telling people, oh, hey, check out this person's video. That was very cool,
Yep. No,
or
it's one
whatnot.
of the reasons why I enjoy them. It's one of the first ones I watch when I get up with my coffee in the morning.
What now that is for me, that's the real test because I can remember when I first started watching with my early morning coffee. It was Albert LaBelle, and I mean, if he was like 20 minutes late, I'm like, where is he? What? Wait, what? He's not going to do it this. I would freak out.
No, I guess what I
So
appreciate the most is your candidness in those. Just it's free. You're just talking freely about whatever's on your mind.
yeah, and it does tend to flow.
Yep.
Uh, it's just whatever's pops into my mind. What I've been doing, what I've been seeing, what I'm
Mm-hmm.
enjoying, that
Yep.
whole thing.
Yep.
So I'm glad everybody's enjoying it or seems to be enjoying it. So there
Yep.
you go.
Definitely. So I want to touch on something that perhaps some people. Well, I believe the general community that knows you're retired.
Right.
But what did you used to do for a living? That's the part I
I
don't think people know.
um, I um, I was a carpenter. I had a carpentry business and lots of finish carpentry. Um, I did all types of carpentry, but I did an awful lot of custom doors and windows and match moldings and make moldings, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So it was, I wasn't really just a hammer jerk pounding things together. I was doing a little bit higher level of carpentry.
Actual woodworking, working with the wood, making it what you
Yes.
want it to be. Yep. That's
Yeah. And what I liked
that's
about
an
that,
art. It's an art.
it is. When I used to make the custom windows and doors, someone would order one, and I would literally go and buy the raw lumber
Yep.
this is not Home Depot and get 2x4s or this,
Yeah.
simple stuff. You go to a supplier,
Yes.
and you look up and there's a stack, maybe 12 feet high. And in the middle of that stack is some 8-quarter oak that you
Oh,
want. And they come over with the forklift and they pull that out. And then it's all rough sawn. And so you need to be able to look at those pieces of wood in that rough sawn condition, figure out the dimensions that you need to ultimately end up with. And so select that out, haul it home, and it's heavy because they're usually
oh yeah.
12, 16 foot long. And then start milling it down.
We, my wife and I, when we were traveling down to South Carolina back in early June, we stayed over in Lexington overnight, halfway in the journey. And what was one of the things we went out and did just to see and appreciate was an actual mill yard, and got to see some of the wooden stuff that they had there, available. And I guess the only thing I can say is if you're just getting into woodworking or carpentry, or yeah, do yourself a favor, look into a lumber mill or a lumber yard that actually mills the wood and all that.
Right.
Skip Home Depot and Lowe's. You're going to start out with bad materials to begin with, and yeah, you're
Right.
not going to be happy with what you get.
You're not going to get there from here with
No.
that. Um, yeah, I used to go. My favorite one was named Bonhoff Lumber, and they had been in business a little over 100 years. There was the grandfather who was still hobbling around there, um, the son, and then his son, and and it was like a family. Well, it was a family, and then two or three other people who worked there were just like family.
Yeah.
So I loved going there.
Do you ever miss it, carpentry?
Um, I don't. Um, and I guess because it was such heavy work
Mm-hmm.
and so intense work, and making a living at it made it so as well, having to make a living at it.
Yeah.
So I don't miss that. I'll tell you what, I miss having my work truck with all the boxes and everything sorted out and the tools exactly where I, you know, want them to put my hand on them.
I
That I miss.
I guess that explains the proposed was it octagon table?
The octaset or the rotary set. That was not sure where that came from, but actually, it's really kind of a cool idea.
It depends. Are you going to make your own table, or are you going to look for one?
It probably I probably won't come to fruition. Um,
Uh,
it might just stay in my mind. I know it's a shame, isn't it? But no, I mean I really like that idea.
yep.
I like Murlock's remark about that. He said eight sets. He says I don't even have barely half a set.
Yeah.
So you make do with what you have and what you can do.
Okay, but comments like that, which are understandable,
Oh
also
yeah,
also could come from perhaps not having done it that long yet. You've been doing it for 6 years and had the opportunity to collect tools like that, to use them. So there's that. Just like you don't run out when you first start carpentry or woodworking and go and buy everything. You start with some few basic things and then build to that. So,
yeah. I basically started. The majority of my tools were hand tools,
mm-hmm.
um, which is sort of, if you learn how to use hand tools, then you're much better and understand how the power tools work. Um, I mean, I made my own draw knife, and I made my own wood plane, and quite a bit of other things. So uh, if you know how to make those work, you understand a lot more when it comes to the $600 power plane
Yes. Yeah.
when you can get that.
Yeah. Okay, so I did want to dive in a little bit into some of your hobbies, both new and old. And I wanted to start with the juggling. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I do know how to juggle. It's been a while. I've got to find my balls, but there actually are juggling balls. It's when I remember in the '70s, I went up to um, Northern California to visit some friends of mine who were in college up there in where were they? Well, it'll come to me. But oh, Arcata, California. And anyway, one of them had gone to clown school, and she was a juggler, so she taught me how to juggle.
Well, that's cool.
And it's a very, very cool thing. Keep your eyes and your hands and everything coordinated. It takes a little bit, um, but it's anything that's feel. I like anything there's a rhythm or a feel, or I enjoy.
Before I move to on to another hobby you have, I want to point out that we have to be careful there. We might be giving sound bites to Lockheed for picking time.
Well, that's fine. I love his sound bites.
Yeah,
I do. I love picking time.
yeah,
That's um totally, totally cool
yeah.
uh,
So
thing they.
you talked to me a little bit about dowsing rods.
That's another one of my talents. Dowsing or water witching, where you take rods and you hold them in your two hands and you walk around until you start feeling them move and cross, and below there is where there is water.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how it works, but I can tell you it does work, and it's very cool when you do it and you feel it.
Well, you told me about a test that a friend of yours and you did, and you actually found something you didn't expect to find.
Well, yeah. So this friend says, that's I don't believe that's baloney. And I said, okay, well, let's test it. So we took 3 or 4 buckets, and I said, take your buckets and under one of them put a bowl of water. And don't tell me which one. I'll go in the front yard, and you can set it up in the backyard. And then I'll come with my copper rods and see if I can find your water. So um, I start walking around and walking towards the buckets, and I'm not getting any hits. And then I get a hit. And so I say, okay, your water's under this one. And he lifts it up, and sure enough, the little bowl of water's under there. And then I start walking away. I still have the dowsing rods in my hands. And all of a sudden, I'm getting a hit. And so I start concentrating, and I move around a little bit, and they cross. And I said, well, that's really weird. There's no bucket there. He says, well, yeah, that's the water main. That's where the water comes. I went, oh, okay, this really works.
So you are well, you enjoy fly casting. I was going to say you're an accomplished fly caster, but I might have
Oh,
been
I actually am.
okay.
I'm probably a better fly caster than I am a lock picker. So that sort of gives you an idea of my fly casting abilities.
Oh,
I love it. It's totally a feel thing.
yeah.
Um, I love teaching it,
Okay, that's cool.
and
I'm not
and I
I'm
have
not surprised, but that's cool.
Yeah, it is something. I'm trying to think about how long I've been doing that. Maybe 7 or 8 years.
Okay.
Um, we are blessed here in Pasadena, the city just to the south of me. It's like 12 minutes away from me, where we have a casting pond. And what it is just for practice. And we have a clubhouse that's been there, the Pasadena Casting Club, that's been there since 1947. Um, so I go down there and I have a group of buddies, and we go generally three times a week, and we hang out and we cast and we play casting games, or we trade rods and who's got the best one, or it's wonderful. And we all help teach when we have clinics and stuff.
Okay.
So love it.
Cool. All right. Last question before we wrap up.
Okay.
What is your favorite thing about locksport, or things?
I think it's the shared experience that we talk about and share back and forth in the community.
Mm-hmm.
The comments, the tutoring,
Yes.
the you're watching somebody, you've seen them, or you've made comments like, what's your next lock, and they say, well, I'm going to go after such and such lock, and you watch them, and all of a sudden they're posting a video, and you're going, God, I hope they get it. And they do. And it's like you got it. It's just,
Yep.
to me, it's still thrilling.
I
Still
have.
very.
Yeah. I have to say I'm probably one of the worst at asking for help. So when I finally do, I've reached a point where I've probably damaged my head or forehead on the wall long enough that I just know that I need someone to guide me. So definitely appreciate that from anybody that has ever helped me out, including yourself. So, all right, is there anything? Go ahead.
You're welcome. Certainly.
Is there anything you'd like to say to our audience before we wrap up?
Um, no, well, yeah, this has been another fun interview. Anyone who hasn't stepped forward, and so many awesome people have, um, step forward and let us know about you. I mean, are there any other dowsers out there? you know, what's your favorite lock? What are your hobbies? What do you do for a living? Where do you
Yeah.
live? I mean,
Yeah.
we love hearing all that
Yep.
because it just it just enhances our whole experience in this community. So,
I've tried to make it so that we learn a little bit more outside of just lock sport to know what we have in common with one another. Because, that's what makes us, what we do all around is what makes us interesting. And I don't really care if you've been picking for 10, 20 years or if you've been picking for a year. You still have a story to share and you're still a person. And the pre-interviews really let me get to the meat of what is interesting so that we can make sure we're sharing that. So that's what I try to do. And yeah, I would love to have more people come forward and be interviewed. It doesn't matter what belt you are, it doesn't matter where your skill set is, you still have had a journey and you can share it. And you never know, if you share your story and share your difficulties that you're having, you'll potentially have people that reach out to you to say, hey, if you want some help with that, let me know. So anyway,
yeah,
I
I agree.
I wanna thank you for doing this. I always enjoy talking with you, and I thought that this interview was long overdue, and I'm very happy that you wanted to do it. So
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, thank you for asking and being interested.
definitely. All right, with that, I'll wrap this one up. If you are a subscriber, thank you. If you are not yet a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications and all, and hit like on the video. and thank you for listening.